I would like to welcome you in my turn to this year's Greek Economic Summit, which is taking place in a transitional period, in a period in which we are looking for a new narrative that will redefine growth. We are looking for the axis that will constitute the basis of this new narrative. The topic that we're going to discuss about right now pertains to technology and growth. And I have the pleasure to have with me a woman that has linked her name during the last few years with important achievements and with positions of responsibility. Ms. Peggy Antonakou, good afternoon. She is the Regional General Manager in Southeastern Europe of Google. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I would like to start by saying a few words about the ways that technology changes our daily life and how it can also contribute to growth. Could you give us some examples of Google? It is very difficult to think of a sector or an aspect of life that technology doesn't affect. It is truly impressive the way that we have become familiarized with technology, the way in which we base everything that we do on technology, starting with our work, our entertainment, education, communication, transportation, information. I can give you many examples of how technology has affected our lives. I would say that in terms of economic growth, the technological applications have become an international language that no company whatsoever and no worker, no citizen has the luxury of not speaking it. And this is very important to acknowledge because we have seen that the pandemic has somehow pressed on fast forward. It has brought about an acceleration of developments that had already started some time ago, but it's like it accelerated everything. It made us proceed at faster pace, and for the good reasons. Why I'm saying that? Because first and foremost, we could ensure our safety and remain productive. In other words, we could stay at home or work in a space in total safety and thus continue to be productive. We were able, thanks to technology, to continue communicating and to produce an economic product that may not be of our own company, but the result of our interaction with others. So it's very important to say that the technology showcased the necessity of technology, which for us who work in technological companies that are fully digitalized, they already knew. But basically, it gave the opportunity to other sectors and to other professions to take a step forward. And it also gave a serious boost to other sectors, like the retail, for example, that we have developed greatly in Greece as Google. We digitalized the retail sector because when you had your store closed, unless you had an online presence, you had no possibility of continuing the business activity. With an online presence, you could continue the economic activity, and not only with someone living in Greece, but also with someone living abroad. I don't know to what extent the technological capacities and the infrastructure existed, because you are saying all this about retail and the sales through the net. Back in the past, we were waiting for weeks for the products to arrive at home. So maybe the technology has changed that. Now, apart from the labor market, I would like to touch upon something else that is very important during the last few years. And of course, I'm talking about the environment. I read something very interesting. That is that Google Maps that we all use on a daily basis in order to move from one point to another, from 2022 will show the route that will ensure the fewer carbon emissions, and that the Google products will help 1 billion citizens make more sustainable choices. Could you explain this, please? Look, the environment and the issue of sustainability, generally speaking, is something that concerns all of us, and it should concern all of us. And we have seen that it has become a priority of the global agenda. This is the topic of our days, since we have only one planet. There is no B planet. And Google has set the environment as one of its main priorities. In other words, Google was one of the first companies that started this discussion, and it has committed early on that up to 2030, all the energy used in its offices, data centers, or in anything it does will stem from renewable energy sources. This is very important for a company of that size for two reasons. Obviously, for the footprint of the company, but also because it paves the way for other companies to follow. In other words, the fact that we will help 1 billion people have a smaller footprint means that we provide our technologies to businesses, states, governments, or the final consumers in order for them to make the wise choices, because they can make these wise choices only by having the necessary data, only by knowing how they can minimize their footprint. The example of Google Maps that you mentioned is a very simple and very beautiful example, in my view, of how, by making a simple choice, that is, by choosing the most sustainable route, once, of course, you are given the necessary information and choice, then you are able to make a conscientious effort to minimize the footprint. Yes, this is a very interesting example. Google will show to me that this route is more environmentally friendly, to put it this way. Yes, exactly. That this route, as now you notified about the shortest route, then in the future, the route that you will be given will be the route with the smaller footprint. And then, of course, you will make the choice. But this is what technology actually does. It strengthens choices. It creates and provides us with choices, which often are easy and aim at facilitating our lives. Something else that you insist on at Google, apart from the environment and the protection of it, is the digital education, on which you place particular emphasis. And I would like to ask you whether you believe that this is a basic prerequisite for growth. Undoubtedly, growth and digital growth has to be sustainable, but at the same time inclusive. In other words, everyone should have the possibility to enjoy the benefits of this technological advancement. There are many researchers that have shown that there are professions which right now are in demand of workers. And Europe has this trend very strong. There are professions that require digital skills that very few people have. The world needs developers that are inexistent right now. We need to educate more. And I would like to talk about the program that started in Greece recently and which I liked very much. Google launched last year, the so-called Google certificates, which are educational programs that pertain not to basic digital skills. It pertains to advanced digital skills. However, anyone that attends the program may have zero knowledge of digital skills, and by following the program can reach professional level and also be absorbed in the labor market. And it provides education in the sectors of UI, technological management, and others. And from 0 to 6 months, anyone can attend this program at their own pace at a very low cost. We're talking about $50, €45 per month. And in 6 months, one can reach a level of being able to work. These people may be unemployed, or they may just want to enrich their knowledge. And by the end of the program, they will be eligible to work in Google. So once someone follows this program full-time, then in 6 months, they will have the possibility of being employed. These people may be mothers that stay at home in order to take care of the children and have some time to attend such a program. Many others. In other words, there are short ways for someone to become an integral part of this digital reality that is being shaped without too much of a cost or an effort. And of course, the digital skills in general are very important for all age groups. We want to help all age groups learn not only the basics, but also learn some entrepreneurial things that will be very useful. And allow me to give you another example, which I deem very necessary. It is a program that we launched along with the Greek Office for Employment that provides people up to the age of 45 to book some appointments or take part in groups in order to be educated about digital skills, about drafting a business model, a business plan, on how to expand their businesses globally. Because if there is one thing in which Google is very useful and can change lives of people, but also businesses, is exactly that, the opportunities it provides. Do we have advanced digital skills as a people? I believe that the young people they do have. But generally speaking, where do we stand in comparison to other countries? Look, if we take a look at the DESIT index, which is the European Union index that measures the digital skills, there is a lot of room for improvement. Of course, there are different age groups that have, of course, different approaches. The digital sector is not a sector where the experience has necessarily the advantage. It is the young who has the advantage. The youngsters, the adolescents, the young generations have the major advantage of using the technology because they are the so-called digital natives. They have been born in a digital era and know how to use digital skills. And by the way, as it's true for everything, technology needs to be safe. It is very important to know which are the limits and how we can use something in a safe way, but also in a useful way. As I said, the young people have this advantage. Let's take the example of a young kid or of an adolescent. We have this. Then on the other side, we have the parents or the teachers who may be afraid of technology because they cannot use it in order to control the youngster. And thus, they take a step back. So it is very important to educate them, to provide them with the necessary tools in order for them to feel more comfortable with technology. And I would like to give you another example for which I'm very, very excited. In cooperation with the Ministry of Education and an NGO, we launched a program in Greek schools, both public and private, which is called Become the Hero of the Internet, which basically trains students, parents, and teachers through some games and through some simple applications in order for them to develop safe behaviors in using the Internet and in order for the entire ecosystem to embrace technology for what it has to offer to students. What you said, Ms. Antonakou, that what we are doing on the net stays forever is something very important. It's linked to safety. And I would like to talk about rights, technology and rights. Because we know that if you write something on the net, it will stay there forever. And maybe someone may disparage someone else. So how can we ensure protection of the citizens? This is a very important issue. And I would like to tell you with regard to that. In 2014, the European Court of Justice established the right to oblivion, which means that when I'm saying that something stays forever, it means that, okay, it's out there, but as a European citizen, you have the right to appeal, or you have the right to ask from a search engine like Google to remove some data or some information as long as this information is proven to be disparaging. Yes, so there is a specific URL, a specific link that one can visit in order to upload the data, the info, the URL that you want to be removed, and then does this take long? The whole process, does it take long? No. You just submit an application, takes a few minutes, and the answer that people expect from Google, will it take long? To be honest, I don't know how long it takes. It is different depending on the case and the difficulty of each case, but it is something very common and very important at the same time. Something that is not that developed in Greece in terms of technology is tourism. Although it is the backbone of the Greek economy, I feel that tourism does not make the most of technology. Yes, this is true. And there has been a research by Oxford Economics that shows exactly that. Meaning Greece is the country of South Europe that has the greatest margin of development in terms of using technology for the promotion of tourism. The only thing it has to do is to create digital information about the tourist product, a product that is of great quality and is internationally known and appreciated. There is no doubt that we have a very powerful tourist product. The way that we're going to digitalize it, the way that we're going to create information and make the experience of someone looking to come to Greece is very important. And on the basis of this research, if we do all this, we may increase our GDP by 4%. And if I remember correctly, the jobs that could be created were approximately 200,000 just by digitalizing information about tourist product. This is something that we need deeply. It is something that people want. During the last few years, we have launched a program which is called Grow Greece with Google. In that program, tourism plays a very important role. And thanks to that program, we have seen the difference that right information can make. Another project that we have completed in the past and which I enjoyed greatly was a project in cooperation with the municipality of Santorini in order to extend the tourist period, which could only be done by disseminating more information online, which information would reach people in Australia, for example, who would choose to visit Greece even in October or January. Okay, allow me to ask something more personal. You are the Iron Lady of technology in our country. There is no doubt about that. You are the General Regional Manager for Southeast Europe. I would like to ask you, Ms. Antonakou, about a topic that has drawn the attention of many. You are a woman, and we shouldn't have a discussion about the fact that a woman has a leading position. However, this is not self-evident for many, and I would like to ask you, how difficult was it, or to put it differently, was it to the benefit of the company to have a woman in a leading position? I don't know if it's maybe considered as sexist, what I'm saying. It's good to hear that I'm the lady of technology in Greece. I don't know whether I like the title Iron Lady, but okay. Look, it is something that needs to be discussed even further. As I have said, I will be very glad to see the day that no one actually makes a distinction between a man and a woman CEO. No one will ever discuss about the fact that there is a woman CEO in a technological firm. It is something that makes a difference, actually, because you set some standards in our sector, but also in business environment in general. And I believe that we have a long way to go before we reach that day of no distinction between men and women. And it is, of course, something that is related to inclusion. And it is, at the same time, very important because it can create social and economic benefits. This has been proven by many researchers that have showed that municipalities, government states fare better when women participate in these structures and institutions. The result is always more pluralistic and reflects our world in a better and more faithful way. So it is very important to be directed in reaching this objective. And I also read that Disney has now a woman as a CEO, and I believe that this is very, very good news. And I hope that very soon we will have more news like that. And one last thing, we hear Regional General Manager of Southeast Europe. So what is your role exactly? My role is to be, in a certain way, the ambassador of Google in the Southeastern Europe, for which I'm responsible, and at the same time, the ambassador of Greece, again, in the same region, but also in the company as well. So being able to bring along the dynamic of a region that is constantly evolving, technologically wise, and also bring along the reputation of a company that is a synonym of advancement and progress. I believe that all these are very encouraging and positive. Thank you very much, Ms. Antonakou. Thank you for listening to us, and I would like to give the floor to the next panel.